Welcome to the Cast Off. This is the #1 recasting show on the internet where two contestants compete by recasting your favorite actors in movies you love. I'm your host, Craig Price, and tonight we go back to a simpler time when superhero movies didn't have the luxury of overwhelming CGI, and it was all about the characters. Tonight we recast Mystery Men. And to recast Mystery Men, we brought in some great people, and that we've started off, we've got the wonderful and talented Richard Jensen, filmmaker Richard Jensen. How are you, sir? You're back out there shooting things, right?
Yes, Celtic Ray Filmworks is back up and running. The Patreon page is open. We've got our tiers, $5, $10, $25. We've got a bunch of new extras, including a new design variant poster for our award-winning short Cuck.
Are you sure you want to call it a variant? Just because of what's happened.
It's known as it's known as a variant poster because it's not the original poster.
Sure.
But it was designed by Ashland artist Kyle McGowan, and you can get that as part of the $25 tier. But you can also come in at the $5 tier. You can get a sticker with our logo on it, and you get your name in the closing credits of all the shorts that you help back.
And you have one more thing to plug, that you're on the pilot program.
Yeah, here's the thing. There's a comedy theater company in Los Angeles called the Pack Theater, and every Saturday night they do something called a pilot dump, where somebody submits a TV pilot, and members of the Pack Theater read it online. And I wrote my own little TV pilot called Nottingham, which we did a reading of a couple weeks ago, and it's on the Pack Theater's YouTube page. You folks can check that out. It's a good cast of people. It's Jillian Dunn, J. Elijah Coe, Nathan Altman, Elizabeth Hayhurst. There's a bunch of good people in it, some of whom you might remember from various internet comedy videos.
Okay. Well, we also have... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had more plugs.
Oh, no. I was elaborating on the plug. There's also... It's basically about what happens after King Richard retakes the throne and has to hire a new sheriff to bring justice and order to Nottingham.
Is it a musical?
It is not a musical.
Oh, well.
I have no musical talent whatsoever.
Okay.
But it's got kind of and I feel kind of dirty saying this, a kind of Joss Whedon tone to it.
Okay, yeah.
Which would have been better 3 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Before...
Well, let's move on to, since you brought up Joss Whedon, let's move on to someone that's a lot better than Joss Whedon, and that is
yes.
one of my regular co-hosts and judge-turned-contestant, Elizabeth Rapp. How are you, Elizabeth?
Pretty good. Tired, but
yes. And one of the things that I know that the pandemic took away from you, and that is 9 Inch Nails, and they have what the pandemic has taken away. Ticketmaster regiveth. I hear they're coming closer to town, so you might actually be able to kidnap one of them and bring him to home.
Yeah, they're coming to Red Rocks, which isn't terribly far, and it's a really straight shot from my house, so it'll be really easy to escape the police.
Nice. We've got this all figured out. So so is it Trent Reznor? No, he's with is he with 9 Inch Nails?
Yeah. Yes. He is 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, you have to forgive me. 9 Inch Nails is not my bag, but Trent Reznor I know from all the soundtracks. I'm like, hey, maybe he's Rage Against the Machine. I don't know all these people. So Trent, if you're out there, I would hire 2 or 3 more security guards.
I don't think I could really take on his wife. Like, his wife seems...
We got to get through the security guards to get to the wife. So
yeah.
So I think you could take her. I don't know her at all, but I'm sure, Elizabeth, that when push comes to shove it, you're going to be right there taking it down. So let's get on with the game. There are some rules to this chaos, and that is going to be real simple. I'm going to throw up a character from the movie, and you are going to choose a replacement actor. The judges are going to choose a choice. The one with the best choice gets 1 point. I also play along, and I've selected things before I even sent you the list. And if you get my secret selection, you get an additional 1 point. Or if you get the best choice and my selection, that's 2 points for you. So if you start falling behind, there are ways to get back. Person with the most points wins. And if there's a tie, we'll do a double feature to win, and we'll explain that when and if it needs to happen. Well, As always, this show is brought to you by Matinee Heroes, and this March we are celebrating the comedy genius of Mel Brooks. And this week we continue with the hilarious History of the World Part 1. You can head over to matineeheroes.com/subscribe to follow the podcast, and you can also hear tonight's post-show exclusively on the audio version of Cast Off, which is every Thursday in the Matinee Heroes feed. And if you're enjoying the Cast Off, while you're at the site, you can subscribe to the feed at matineeheroes.com/castoff. So are you ready for inept heroes and stupid powers? If you are, then you're ready for the Mystery Men. Richard, you go first, and we're going to start with Ben Stiller as Mr. Furious, who gets super strength when he gets super mad. Not when he gets mad, he has to get super mad. So, Richard, who do you have replacing Ben Stiller as... I guess he's trying to be like a lone wolf bad guy, one of those, like a Batman type, and he's not.
Yeah, he's trying to be Batman, but he just doesn't have enough vengeance in him to pull it off. I wanted somebody who could do kind of over the top anger, so I went with his Cable Guy co-star Jim Carrey.
Ah, Jim Carrey, whose Cable Guy returned during the Super Bowl. Known for his rubber face comedy, Batman Forever, Sonic the Hedgehog, which we are now using the Sonic the Hedgehog logo as ours this season. Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and of course, Earth Girls Are Easy. Jim Carrey is really good when he gets mad. He's a little over the top. He's the kind of guy who's very open-mouthed mad. He's kind of guy. So we'll go with Elizabeth. Elizabeth, who could you possibly go against with Jim Carrey?
Mine is not as good. I wanted somebody with that sort of squirrely energy that I feel Ben Stiller has, and who can, really can do kind of like good angry impressions more than I guess I've ever seen him really angry. But I went with Bill Hader as Mr. Furious.
Yes, known for his obscure impressions. He was in Tropic Thunder, Trainwreck, It, and Barry, and of course Superbad. He can play angry. I think he's very talented. I think he could do that.
That's actually a good choice. That's a good choice.
Yeah. Oh, you'll hear Elizabeth. She'll downplay it all, but then she'll come in and like beat you over the head with it. We've got Jim Carrey, Bill Hader, the judges conferred, and Bill Hader, Elizabeth, the underdog, the self-imposed underdog.
I would have thought Jim Carrey, bigger name. Come on,
bigger name, but I think Bill Hader is a bigger talent. And I also think Jim Carrey. He's good, but I think he might over-exaggerate a little bit. So we'll move on.
Yeah, Hader's actually a stronger choice. He's more analogous to Stiller than Carrey.
Yeah, well, he's also he's more towards the character than I think Jim is. So we'll move on. I went with Steve Carell because seeing him mad as Michael on The Office, I know he can play mad a lot and frustrated and upset. So I think he'd be very funny at it. Next, we get to the fake dandy and a real mother forker, since he steals his forks from his mom. It's canon who he lives with.
Oh yeah.
We have the Blue Raja played by Hank Azaria. So Elizabeth, who do you have playing the fork throwing Blue Raja?
Well, it's funny. It had to somebody be. Blue Raja was my favorite character, if you have one in the Mystery Men, but this one was mine. And it had to be somebody who could be, who was not British, who would do a sort of not great British accent, and who could pull off the awkwardness, especially in a more woke era of being somebody really into British colonial India.
Yes.
So I went with Tom Hanks, who I know actually can do a pretty good English accent based on Cloud Atlas. So he's not terrible at it, but
no,
definitely not sound real. And he's gonna. It's weird. It's gonna be like a secondary role for him. He's a little bit of a big star for this.
Yeah, I tried to find a turban picture with him, and this is the only one I could find. Tom Hanks, he's America's dad. When things go in trouble, we look to Tom Hanks to feel better. He's in Saving Private Ryan, A League of Their Own, Apollo 13, Road to Perdition, Catch Me If You Can, all movies we've done here at Matinee Heroes. So head over to matineeheroes.com and go into the archives, and you can hear all 5 of those movies that we've done because we absolutely adore and love Tom Hanks. All right, who do you have going up against Tom Hanks, Richard?
Well, in this case, because there's that whole kind of colonialism thing, I decided to go in a slightly different direction and actually go with an Indian actor, so I went with Hassan Minhaj.
Yes. The Daily Show correspondent, Hassan Minhaj, who hasn't done a lot of acting. A lot of the stuff that he's done is like Stephen Colbert, an exaggerated version of himself. But I did find some things that he was in. He was in The Morning Show. He's in the new season of The Morning Show for a couple episodes. The Spy Who Dumped Me. He's known for the Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj, which is where he's getting
great show.
Yep, this is the picture I got where he's picking up one of his 2 Peabody Awards, and then of course everybody's got to start somewhere with Disaster Date and State of Georgia, things where he just kind of showed up in, but not a lot of acting for him. So that's an interesting pick. We've got Tom Hanks, who is probably one of the best actors of our generation. Hassan Minhaj, probably one of the most non-acting actors of our generation.
I can see where this is going.
No.
And the judges decided with the upset, Hassan Minhaj.
Oh!
Because I think they also felt woke, as you up there in the Pacific Northwest say. And I felt that they probably wanted to skew away from the imperialism, but I think that's half the character. So Hassan Minhaj for the point.
Well, it takes the curse off.
Yes.
Yeah, but okay.
And that's the thing about this movie. A lot of curses in this movie. Not swear words. A lot of people are cursed in this movie. So I went with Taron Killam because I could see him playing that fake European, but then you put that stupid turban on him and the forks, and I could really see him chewing this up. Well, now we get to William H. Macy as the shoveler, who can, he can shovel, but he shovels really well. That's it. That's all he can do is shovel, which is sad because in the actual comic books, he has a sentient shovel that speaks like William Shakespeare at him all the time. But in the movie, he just shovels. Yeah. So
I've never read the comic books, so
I haven't either, but I did some research. I tried to do some research for the show.
I was going to be like, wait, you haven't seen the movie?
I haven't seen the movie or read the comic, but I did some research. So I bring the information to you, the kids out there in the viewing audience. So, Richard, who do you have playing William H. Macy's The Shoveler? Because you have to when you bring a collection like this, somebody has to be an actor amongst the comedians, even though the comedians are acting very well, but he's like the actor.
Well, I wanted somebody who had kind of a distinctive kind of hangdog face, so I went with Ben Mendelsohn.
Ah, yes. Very much a hand-dog face. He is known for intense upper-class douches, as he played in Rogue One and The Dark Knight Rises, and in Captain Marvel, where they actually used his history of intense upper-class douches to turn it on its head. But he was in Quickly Down Under and Vertical Limit, and it's really interesting, Ben Mendelsohn, because I really like Ben Mendelsohn now. Because when he was younger, when he was in his 20s and 30s, he looked like a goober. James Spader had the same problem. James Spader below 30 looks weird, and Ben Mendelsohn under 30 looks weird. But now, I mean, at 50, 55, Ben Mendelsohn's good-looking, hunky man.
I was going to say, this is like the most pinup picture of him I've ever seen.
Yeah, I tried to find a good one. So, Elizabeth, who do you have playing the working man?
I also, you have to go with like a real hangdog face, a real sort of a guy that could play really sad, sacky guys. And I went with Eddie Marston. Is it Marston or Marston? I'm not sure.
I just say Marston.
There he is.
Yeah, Eddie Marston. Now, if we have intense upper class douches, we have intense lower class blokes for Eddie from Gangs of New York and V for Vendetta, and he's in the Sherlock Holmes movies. He's great. I really like him too. Both of you guys, Ben Mendelsohn and Eddie Marston, this is the toughest one, I think, because these are two top-rated actors who can do both things. Eddie can also play upper-class douches as well sometimes, but you can't help that he's 4'3" and kind of grumpy-looking all the time.
He looks like you imported him from Victorian London. Like,
yes, he does. Yeah, he looks like he's part Hobbit with those ears. But anyways, we've got Ben Mendelsohn, Eddie Marston. The judges talked it over, and after a fierce debate, Eddie Marston wins.
Oh, everyone loves Ben Mendelsohn. I thought I was going to lose this
again.
one.
I think Ben Mendelsohn's too upper class for this particular role. I think that might be what it is, because he like in The Dark Knight Rises, he's always playing the guys in the upper part of the bank who are just jerks, and Eddie's always playing scumbags at the bottom of the barrel. I went with Jesse Plemons, or as we like to call him here at Matinee Heroes, Meth Damon. So Oscar-nominated Jesse Plemons.
He really does look like the Matt Damon puppet. From...
It's definitely amphetamine Meth Damon, yes. Well, now we get to the only woman of the crew, and that's Janine Garofalo's bowler, and her father's bowling ball head. That's supposed to be her father in there. Now, again, I have not seen the movie, but in the comic book, her father possesses the body of the bowling ball, and when she throws it, it flies around the room through the power of her dad, and it talks to her. So
same in the movie.
Okay.
Although we never hear the guy's voice.
Oh, then yeah. All right. So, Elizabeth, I think we're up to you. You're next, aren't you?
I guess.
Yeah, you had Eddie Marston.
Yeah.
So who do you have playing the lone lady?
I know the obvious pick for this one, but I went with my gothic girl crush, Rooney Mara, because I mean, it's a pretty humorless character, so I don't really know if Mara has a sense of humor, but she can certainly play humorless, and so I went with her.
I know when we make the Elizabeth Rapp movie, we're going to hire Rooney Mara to play you, especially from the girl from the dragon tattoo.
I don't see it.
Especially the girl from the dragon tattoo. Look, she's got that, because you don't have the long hair flowing all the time. It's always usually up. But yeah, she's got the same kind of, she always plays troubled women in The Social Network, the girl from the dragon tattoo, her, Carol. She's really good in Nightmare Alley, so if you have not seen that yet, please go out and see it. Like I get a piece of that. I don't know why I said please. So, who do you have going up against the lovely Rooney Mara?
Well, the character is kind of snarky and sarcastic, I was a basic B and went with Aubrey Plaza.
I knew it.
Yeah. Known for snarky troublemakers. So she was in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Dirty Grandpa, Ingrid Goes West, the new Child's Play, and of course we all know her as April from Parks and Rec. So we have Rooney Mara, Aubrey Plaza. The judges talked it over and said, well, you got to go with funny. Not that we don't think Rooney can't do it, but you might as well go with what you know. And so Richard has tied it back up 2-2. You guys going back and forth here. I went with Melissa McCarthy. So I wanted somebody that was more like an everyday girl. I think Melissa McCarthy's a great actress, and I think she would just play. I think she's the kind of girl who goes bowling. So, well, now
probably, yes, her sister lived in my old neighborhood. So,
oh really? And her cousin is Jenna. So look at that.
Yeah.
It's the 6 degrees of Elizabeth Rapp. We're close. Well, now we turn to the real hero, Greg Kinnear's Captain Amazing, who is sponsored. I loved all the ads that he's got on there, and he's so effective that all of his criminals are either in jail, dead, or have retired. So he has to have them. He has to go undercover as a lawyer. His identity has them released from jail, so he has something to do. So, which sounds like an evil person. So, Richard, who do you have playing the handsome, Superman-esque Captain Amazing?
I went with the handsome Superman-esque Henry Cavill.
Yes. Yes, he went with Superman himself. He's the Uberman hunk Superman movies that he's in. He's in The Witcher. We did The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and he was great in that. Mission Impossible Fallout, and he's quite good as Sherlock Holmes in Enola Holmes. But yeah, you said throw the budget out the window. We need Henry Cavill.
Yeah, hey, listen, and plus he's funny. There's kind of a dry humor to him in Fallout.
Yeah, and he's kind of a nerd too. He builds his own computers to play Warcraft or Warhammer or whatever that war thing is. So Elizabeth, who do you have to play the amazing Captain Amazing?
I went with somebody who I think can be an exquisite airhead if he chooses. And I went with Alexander Skarsgård because to me, Captain Amazing is an exquisite airhead.
Yes. And he is the Nordic Uberman hunk because this is when I say this is an Elizabeth Rapp pick. This is an Elizabeth Rapp. If he could be a Viking, it's going to be one of Elizabeth's picks because he's in True Blood, The Stand, The Legend of Tarzan, Godzilla vs. Kong, which was underrated classic, and he has been in both Zoolander movies. So,
when I went with the Zoolander thing, tipped it into the balance for that. It was the the fact that he was willing to be the total moron.
Yeah. And the fact that he's willing to play is a big deal. So we have Superman himself, Henry Cavill. we have Randall Flagg, the most evil man in the Stephen King universe, Alexander Skarsgård of the coveted Skarsgård clan. The judges found this one fairly easy because you got to go with Superman because that's what he's doing. So the fact that Henry Cavill will do that, Richard takes the lead, 3-2. I went with Will Arnett because I just think he's stupid and funny, and his voice, and he'd be that arrogant dumb, and I think he'd be great at it.
He would have a great voice.
It would, and of course, it has to be the younger Will Arnett. He's kind of puffed up a little bit in his in the last couple of years, as we all have, except Elizabeth, as we all have, thanks to COVID.
I will say I found Will Arnett cigarettes for him once. I met him and we had a.
Is he a nice guy?
That's my side story.
Was he nice to you?
He was very nice.
Yeah, he seems like he's an awesome guy.
And it was on the set of Jonah Hex, so
that's right. Him
and Will Arnett, him and Josh Brolin started trading stories about Jane Fonda, and then he caught on that I was listening, and he shut up really quickly
because the press was there.
Yeah.
Well, next we get to, we have the great Paul Reubens playing the disgusting Spleen, whose superpower is a combination of lactose intolerance and willful sphincter manipulation.
I didn't realize we had something in common with him.
Yeah. Yep. At least 2 out of 3 of us have the same situation as Spleen. So Elizabeth, as someone who's also very intolerant of lactose, who do you have playing Spleen?
I went with, oddly, another Superman alumni who likes to wear gross makeup and really didn't get his shot also in Jonah Hex. I went with Michael Shannon, who somebody once described to me as somebody wearing a man suit, and I think that he's good in just about everything you put him in. So
yeah, he's really good. He's also known for being scary crazy because almost everything he does when he's a bad guy is just over the top. Like in Boardwalk Empire, he was fantastic. But he can play that sniveling, whiny jerk in Knives Out. He can play psychopath, as we saw him in The Shape of Water. Man of Steel, throw that in there. He was in 8 Mile. And, as I always like to say, he was the guy getting married in Groundhog Day that Bill Murray interrupts every time. It was a very young-looking Michael Shannon. So, and we just saw Michael Shannon in Vanilla Sky just recently when we did that, too. So it was odd when you see people before they're big doing little tiny bit roles. Well, now we're going to get to Richard. Who do you have going up against Zod?
Well, this was a tough one because it's Paul Reubens, and he's a very specific kind of weedy little white guy. So I went with another weedy, funny little white guy. I went with Emo Phillips.
Emo Phillips, absolutely. He is an eccentric stand-up comedian. Not a lot of work. As far as the acting wise, he does a lot of voiceovers, but not a lot of work acting. He was in Meet the Parents, the 1992 original. He actually wrote Meet the Parents, the original, that they then, Ben Stiller, remade 12 years later. I did not know that. That was something I found in my research. And of course, the world famous UHF with Weird Al Yankovic. So we've got
very tight with Weird.
Yeah. Oh, well, when you're weird, you have to be tight with Weird. So it's Michael Shannon, Emo Phillips. And overwhelmingly, we went with Michael Shannon because we know he can act. I don't know what Emo is going to do besides talk like this all the time, which would be annoying. I thought he was funny, but in small doses. I went with Nick Kroll. And if you don't know Nick Kroll, he's a very funny improviser, and he's not afraid to get all maked up and gross. And he's great in Big Mouth, the cartoon series on Netflix, which is nothing but gross. Well, next, we finally have the bad guy, Jeffrey Rush as the disco-loving insane, and I know that's redundant when you say they're disco-loving. We know that automatically makes you insane. Mass murderer Casanova Frankenstein, who was only picked to be the bad guy because the writers liked the name. They didn't have a story for him. They just said, well, we'll just find a bad guy. Casanova Frankenstein.
It's a good name.
Well, it's
the best name.
It's the best name. So, Richard, who do you have going up against? Because you guys are tied right now. So who do you have for the final pick as Casanova Frankenstein?
I will say I am pretty confident about my. I went with somebody who has kind of the same loungy lizard vibe as Jeffrey Rush in that movie, I went with Tim Curry.
A very confident pick of Tim Curry, who is awesome and devilishly awesome. Hunt for Red October, The Three Musketeers. Of course, we know him from Rocky Horror Picture Show, It, Clue, and when he was in his prime, wasn't afraid to do anything. He literally, you could do whatever, you put him in any movie you wanted, he would come in 100%. So, Elizabeth, who do you have to go up against Tim Curry?
I'm confident in this pick, but I don't think it probably is going to win. But I think so many people would be good in this, but I decided to go through space and time, and I've also been watching a lot of old movies, and I went with Peter Lorre. Went to
Peter Lorre, yes.
Your Laurie. Oh God, I knew I was going to say it wrong. It's like practice it.
Yeah, it's 2 R's.
And blow it.
It's okay. Peter Lorre. Oh yes. For those of you who don't know Peter Lorre, which I don't understand anybody who doesn't, but he is a Hall of Fame creeper. Every time he's on screen, I just feel like he's got a small child in the basement somewhere. He's in The Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, the TV 1954 version of Casino Royale, Arsenic and Old Lace, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So what we have here is we are tied 3-3, and we've got Tim Curry and Peter Lorre. What has happened is Richard almost always goes with 1940s people, and Elizabeth almost always goes with 90s people. And things have changed, and Richard just swapped out. So, I'm sorry. I was trying to mute it because I was coughing. Sorry. Just relax. Just settle down.
Sorry about that.
So, it's a tie. I went with Christoph Waltz, so there will not be a potential tie at all. Someone is going to win. No matter what, one of you is going to win. But before we do, a quick reminder, we desperately need people to head over to our YouTube channel and sign up. We're 23 shy of 100 to get us our customized URL, so then we don't have to tell you a bunch of weird chain link numbers. I guess they call it the blockchain. I don't know. It's crypto stuff. I don't understand it. So, let's go back. Tim Curry, Peter Lorre. Like I said, I feel like you guys have swapped places. It's rather weird. And
Maybe.
Tim Curry for the win.
This is my first loss.
And it's your first loss. Well, for some reason, when he blanked out, you guys
I feel guilty.
You swapped out. So,
No.
It says Elizabeth Rapp, but had you not done anything, if you just not touched your stuff there, buddy, everything would have been fine. That was my fault. 100% your fault, Richard. You are the winner. What do you have to say for yourself? You have the final thought.
My final thought is go to patreon.com, Celtic Grey Filmworks, chip in, get some free swag, and help me make the stuff I make. You will not regret it.
Please, whatever you can do to have him stop plugging, because he cannot stop. He's constantly plugging. He can't help himself.
Stop, won't stop.
No, it will.
Capitalism is
it's evil. That's right. But we do have a show next week. We are coming up. It's a rerun. It's live from LA Comic-Con. That's right. We have the great Garrett McCaw, who fought tooth and nail against newcomer Ryan Richards as they celebrated one of the most famous movies of all time, The Matrix. So absolutely, this is going to be a tough one. That was live in December, so we did record that. It was a fun time. I know that nobody went, so they'll definitely be new for everybody. Want to be on the show? You can do so. Head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff, and you too could submit an application and be on the show. Or you can just email me at mhcastoff@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link, because I will not. I want more information than just, hey, put me on the show. You can follow us on the Castoff Show on Twitter. Join the Facebook group, matineeheroes.com/castoff to get the video feed links. And, of course, we're still on twitch.tv/matineeheroes. Special thanks to Rob Irvin, last week's winner, and last week's loser for the first time. He was very upset that he lost for the very first time. And Brendan Agnew, one of our favorite go-to judges for being the additional judges, because it's not just me, thank God. And on behalf of Elizabeth Rapp and tonight's winner, Richard Jensen, this has been The Castoff. We'll see you next week.